We're the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. The Stonewall National Museum launched a $40 million campaign for a larger home after outgrowing its space. The museum ensures that LGBTQ plus history, archives, and artifacts remain preserved and accessible despite funding challenges.
Gay dating app Goose faces scrutiny after report alleged it used AI-generated male profiles to attract users. Investigators found suspicious accounts raising concerns about authenticity, trust, and deceptive practices.
GLAAD found some AI chatbots repeated anti-LGBTQ stereotypes, used slurs, and even suggested conversion therapy. Experts warn that biased AI could harm users and influence critical decisions unfairly.
Hundreds of Mass Patriot Front members marched through Washington, D.C. during Independence Day celebrations, displaying Confederate flags and anti-immigration messages. This has renewed concerns over rising white supremacy activity and extremism.
Turkey barred an LGBTQ plus cruise carrying 1,900 passengers from docking, citing moral values. Organizer Atlantis Events called the move unprecedented. All this important LGBTQ plus news and a whole lot more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 12 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the Rainbow family. There's no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Monday, July 6th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Happening Out, South Florida.
In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 14,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, Pride Fete. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
That's right. And in 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this very table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome my brother from another mother. His name is Von Biggs with the best name ever. I mean, come on, Von Biggs, all right? Von is a force, okay? Period. But I'll say more. Von is a force in LGBTQ plus and HIV justice, using his skills as a national speaker, writer, and passionate HIV empowerment advocate. He pushes back against stigma and complacency with unapologetic truth. Von is a community engagement coordinator for Holy Cross Health, executive committee member for the National HIV Aging Advocacy Network, and in his spare time, a founding member and board member of Trans Ed. Hi, Francesca. Welcome back to the show, Von. How you doing? How was your weekend?
Awesome. You know, it was relaxing this weekend.
Yes?
I got in maybe a little bit of trouble, but
Well,
Francesca's fault. I'm going to blame Francesca. But anyway.
When in doubt, blame the beautiful, tall, vivacious woman next to you. Okay.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, why not have a bestie if you can't get in trouble together?
Well, I mean, she's allowed into places you're not, so I can see why.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they let you in Ramrod anymore, right? The last time I checked.
I haven't been there, so.
Well, you know, Vaughn, that I love having you at the table.
I love being here.
Are you feeling good? You're good?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Vaughn, for being here at the table at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back to the table Edward Otto Zielke, an accomplished brand influencer and marketing leader with a dynamic background in financial services and travel marketing. Edward currently serves as the Director of Marketing and Sponsorship for the world-famous Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida. Yes! He also serves on the Gala Chorus's Communications Committee. Welcome back to the show, Edward. And you know what I got the other day?
What'd you get?
A beautiful picture of at your event, at the last event for the Gay Men's Chorus at the Broward Center.
Oh, it must have been invincible, right?
Yes, and still reeling.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy that, you know, people are still talking about that. It was such a wonderful experience. You know, that Pride concert meant so much to us in terms of telling the story of the Pulse.
The Pulse, yes.
You know, and so it was wonderful. But now I've had some chance to get some rest over the weekend. I spent, you know, all weekend at home listening to Madonna's Confessions 2 album.
Yes!
Because, you know, I didn't really want to watch anything too patriotic. But you know what? I love the fact that Madonna can just queer it up for, you know, a holiday weekend like that and just make the 250th anniversary something for me to remember by. So
right, and I think that's how I'm gonna remember this 4th of July was as Madonna's Confessions 2 release.
There you go.
yeah, absolutely. That's when it changed the world.
That's when I was forever changed.
Well, because I think about when I was like a kid and like the Madonna albums would come out and how much of that affected me. And I thought, you know, this might be something that we needed to just cling on to because all the gay clubs were playing them that I saw online.
Oh, for sure, for
Not
sure.
the first time Madonna has made an impact in our community.
Right, and it's
Right.
not, and it's definitely not the last.
Right.
Did you see the commercial? Well, not the commercial, a little skit that she did on the Graham Norton show, Madonna and Kylie.
Oh,
You'll love it. Look it up, folks, at
Uh-oh.
home. It's hysterical. Or watch my show tomorrow because I'll be talking all about it on the FayWhat show. Edward, you know I love working with you here at Queer News Tonight, so thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's welcome back to the table anchor William Haas. Grrr. Will is a bi-coastal real estate professional and is the past president of South Florida's most popular gay social club, the Bears of South Florida. We weren't having like an aneurysm or anything when we did that. That was like, that's their call to action, right? He also serves as a realtor with Exit Realty of Naples and an advisory board member of Freedom Waters. Welcome back to the show, Will. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing well. I had a great weekend. You know, started actually 4th of July with a bang.
Yeah? Well, what's the bang of it? I mean, by a bang, do you mean like a sexual bang or do we mean like a kaboom bang?
No, I rolled and stretched out and knocked my clock on the floor.
It was neither.
You know, it's funny because William Haas like does jokes and then he laughs at his own jokes, right? You know what I mean?
Somebody has to.
It's those awesome dad jokes
Yeah.
that you get once in a while from Will. It's fabulous.
Wow, let me tell you, well, I adore you and I so love working with you here at Queer News Tonight. I was just on a boat with 250 bears over the weekend. Wow, that was a lot of bears and they were happy.
But I'm sure I'm your favorite bear, though.
You're my first bear and my only bear. I stopped at you, William Haas, all right? With you, they broke the mold of bears, all right? I'm so happy to have you back here at the table at Queer News Tonight.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's what I want to refer as is our grand anchorness. FayWhat. She is a legendary events host, television and radio personality, and the host of Hotspots Happening Out, the FayWhat Show. Welcome to the show, Faye. As always, I love sitting next to you.
Thank you.
We always match.
Yes.
I like that. We got a good vibe.
Yes. And all day yesterday, which was the day after 4th of July, right? I was like, okay, I get to decompress and relax because around my neighborhood it's like a war zone on 4th of July, right? And then July 5th is like all the leftover stuff or like the stuff that people bought, you know, on reduction, right? Listen, I'm from Jersey where it's against the law to do your own fireworks, okay? So like this is still, it's hard to get used to that it's a war zone around you and it's legal.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had the sparklers. That was it in Jersey.
That's it. That's
Yep.
all you got with
Yep.
a sparkler.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm fine though. And I'm ready to start Queer News Tonight. I'm FayWhat and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Florida's Stonewall Museum launches $40 million campaign to protect LGBTQ plus history. The Stonewall National Museum, Archives, and Library in Fort Lauderdale has launched a $40 million capital campaign to secure a larger home after its growing collection of LGBTQ plus history outgrew its current space. CEO Robert Keston says the museum has added shelves to every office. While thousands of items have been moved into off-site storage, this is making exhibitions and research increasingly difficult. Keston says, quote, "At this point, we have no choice. We really had to do something dramatic, and that meant to look for a new space," end quote. The museum says its search for new space has become more challenging after losing up to $125,000 in expected federal and state grant funding. Despite those setbacks, the museum recently received support from the National Endowment for the Humanities for an exhibition about Baron Friedrich Wilhelm von Steuben, who many historians believe was gay. Founded in 1973, the museum preserves artifacts spanning the Stonewall riots, the AIDS crisis, and today's LGBTQ plus rights movement. History isn't just something you read. It's something that you have to protect, all right? And if we don't preserve our stories, someone else is going to rewrite them like we're seeing so often in other stories that we give right here on Queer News Tonight. So lately, folks seem awfully interested in doing just that. This isn't just a museum, it's our memories. And if you go into the Stonewall Museum, you'll see that, Robert has added, I was like, oh yeah, there's still space in the bathroom. You can't put some shelves in there. And he's like, no, Faye. We can't do the shelves in the bathroom, So, they really have outgrown that space, 10 times full.
If you see the space today, it's really just really small. And it's just basically for books and library at this point. But yeah, there's so much that they have in storage. Including, I believe, 15 years worth of the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida stuff, too, that, we would love to see displayed, really in a wonderful place. So this is a really bold move for them to, really get out there and get this funds going, because they really need this. They really need the big space just to get people in just to see it.
But it's also important for the kids to go, the LGBT youth to go and realize what we went through and how, just going to a straight bar now, you'd be afraid to go with somebody or hold a hand. And well, actually, we're starting to do that again. You're being afraid to do that. But the kids don't know what we did and why we fight for everything and why we have strong beliefs. They think, because they're born, that this has always been like this, and it hasn't been. So,
right.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to be around a bunch of queer kids a couple of weeks back for a project that I was working on. And I got to tell you that there were a few of them that had never heard of Stonewall or what that was. And that's our Civil War. That is our 9/11, right? We always refer as to that was what began our screaming, saying, we're here. You got to see us. Right. We talk about the AIDS crisis. These are moments in LGBTQ plus history that if we forget them, what happens? We redo them, right? We relive them again, right? And the kids would be the ones to redo these mistakes if they don't know their history.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. And you see, I'm sorry, but you were seeing that also like at their last weekend when they were doing their events for Stonewall and stuff, and they were reenacting the Stonewall riots and stuff, and just teaching the younger generations about that. So it's so important to have this money for them.
Yeah, and Robert's going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, because if anybody can get the money, it's Robert. Okay, if you've ever had a conversation with Robert, then you know what I'm talking about, right? He will not let you finish that conversation until his point is made. So until those $40 million are there for a new building, he will not stop, okay? And if anybody can do it, it's him. I just know it. And it's time, and we need it. And they will find the right funding wherever it comes from, because it's just so important. The fact that people don't even know that we have this Stonewall Museum in Fort Lauderdale. People automatically think New York. Or another big city. No, it's right here in South Florida.
Right. And so much of our funding, and as the story reported, right? Federal funding, and I'm seeing this across the board, anybody that's doing any work and it has those letters on it, federal funding is not happening, period.
Yeah. So some people can erase those letters, and I don't mean erase them, but maybe take them off their marketing. You can't do that with Stonewall.
Exactly.
Stonewall. You know what I mean?
Yep. I'm Von Biggs, and let's queer up gay culture. Goose dating app accused of using AI-generated profile to lure users. Gay dating app Goose is facing scrutiny after a Wired investigation alleged the platform used AI-generated male profiles to attract new users. Goose, created by model influencer Derek Chadwick and former BeReal growth and community manager David Aliagas, promotes itself as a relationship-focused alternative to hookup apps, and is currently centered on New York City. According to Wired, investigators identified more than 24 accounts believed to be AI-generated. The report says several profile images were determined with more than 90% confidence to be AI-created, while the accounts also showed unusual activity patterns and appeared to promote the app through direct messages and coordinated interactions. One user, Ryan Cheem, told Wired he believed he was chatting with a normal gay guy before becoming suspicious. He said, quote, "On one hand, I'm flattered that I'm the target audience, but the need to know essentially bait gay guys into signing up feels really sketchy," end quote. The Federal Trade Commission prohibits using AI-generated accounts to impersonate real people and create fake endorsements. Neither Goose nor Chadwick responded for Wired's request for comment. I think it's interesting because I see AI generated everywhere.
Yeah,
It is
everywhere,
even on the hookup apps. So I do not think AI is the problem. What we see is AI generate images on flyers and advertisements all the time, often creating expectations that do not match reality of an event. This issue is deception. Whether it is an event, a product, or a dating app, people deserve to know when they are seeing a manufactured rather than a real flyer.
It's hard enough for you boys to date as it is.
Yes.
Right. But
Okay? I mean, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I speak through what I know. Okay?
but poor Ryan thinks, he's looking for a normal gay guy. There's no normal
Okay,
gay guys.
that part.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the
Yeah.
key. But I mean, if I don't see this app being around for long, okay? Because if your app needs fake boyfriends to get real users, then the problem isn't the algorithm, it's the freaking app, okay?
Right.
And you've got plenty. You got Scruff, you got Grindr, Facebook is even back to doing some hot stuff. I mean,
Yeah, but you're also seeing a little bit of that AI going into even those apps too and stuff. So you have to be very careful, and it becomes very spammy, and it becomes very, bothersome. So, to already start off an app like this with all of this AI generated stuff is really sinking, the credibility of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm Otto Zielke, and let's queer up gay culture. GLAAD report finds some AI chatbots giving harmful and biased advice to LGBTQ users. A new report from GLAAD is raising concerns about how some artificial intelligent chatbots respond to queer users. The LGBTQ advocacy organization found that some large language models, or LLMs, reinforced harmful stereotypes, used offensive language to describe a gay person, and in one case, even recommended conversion therapy. Communication studies professor Samuel Jay of MSU Denver said that the findings reflect the data AI systems are trained on. Jay said, quote, "If you look at the training data that is being used to train these language models, let's not pretend that if it's pulling from the internet, that the internet does not have a lot of garbage on it," end quote. Jay also urged businesses to carefully evaluate AI tools before using them for hiring or other major decisions, warning that unchecked bias could expose companies to lawsuits as AI regulation continues to evolve. Colorado lawmakers have already begun addressing AI bias. Democratic State Representative Brianna Citing co-sponsored a 2024 bill requiring AI companies to reduce discrimination. A revised law now gives consumers the right to request a human review of AI-assisted decisions involving jobs, loans, and healthcare. Citing said AI biased affects more than just the LGBTQ community, citing concerns about racial discrimination as well. She said, quote, "The whole internet is becoming a disaster. It's full of bad information that is hard to discern what is correct and what is not. And people are believing it," end quote. And I'm certainly believing it. Sometimes, you just don't know what exactly what you have to fact check everything. You just cannot rely
Not
on
anymore. Not anymore.
It really is not that. you know, you have to really do research and you have to read everything.
Yeah.
And just fine tune. But yeah, it's just getting crazy at this point.
Well, and especially since we have a president that constantly does things that we're like, wait a minute, did he really do that? You know what I mean? Like, you know, so we are just already conditioned to check 3 different places when he does some stuff, right? And when it comes to other information that we pick up, it's the same thing. You've got to make sure what sources you're looking, you know? AI is only as smart as the garbage we feed it.
Right.
Garbage in, garbage out. You know the old saying.
I was at a health conference and they talk about how using AI in medical, right? It's constantly something that's coming up. And one of the things in the story talked about that was bias. AI is created by humans. We're all biased. I mean, you may think if you think you're not biased, take one of those Harvard bias tests. You'll prove you wrong. But yeah, but the idea is the guy that did this, he had developed an app about dealing with healthcare and disparities, specifically like in our Black communities and Latin communities. And what they found out was all the recommendations were extremely biased. So then they had to go in and they had to reprogram it to remove the biases. Because then when they did that, it could actually make true recommendations without looking at anything from a biased lens. And I think that's the responsibility that the representative was speaking about. You know, they have companies that are going to have to use these are going to have to be responsible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Everybody at this table uses AI, if not every day, at least a couple times a week. I use it every day, right? And the reality is that whatever I use it for, I still have to check what I do. It's never 100%. You know, it never gives me the information 100%, nor relaying it how I want it relayed. You know, so use AI to your advantage. Obviously, it cuts times and it cuts a lot of time in half. It really does help when it comes to nonprofits that, you know, there are people who are doing more than one hat, you know.
Exactly. And it helps, like, you know, with, you know, gathering your thoughts and kind of like, you know, summarizing things for yourself. But again, you know, you don't want to write it in some foreign voice. You want to have it in your own voice. And so you have to put in your own nuances and things like that as well.
Yeah, like when people use AI to do their Facebook posts, and I'm like, all of a sudden you got smart. You know what I mean? Like, you know, all of a sudden you use emojis. Like all of a sudden, you know what I mean? And you can tell. And you know what I mean? Like what? Where did you get this from? Like, you know, and it's a person that you know doesn't talk like this. You know what I mean? Like that's tough to consume.
I'm William Haas, and let's queer up to USA View. Masked white supremacist group marched through D.C. during Trump's Freedom 250 celebration. Hundreds of masked members of the white supremacist group Patriot Front marched through Washington, D.C. on Independence Day as President Donald Trump's Freedom 250 celebration took place across the nation's capital. The group carried Confederate flags and upside-down American flags as it moved through the city. Photographers documented members of the group at the Eastern Market Metro Station and on public transit, which left commuters feeling unsettled. WTOP reporter Mitchell Miller posted a video on Twitter showing a group of masked men gathered at Union Station, saying that they carried Confederate flags and calling for, quote, reclaiming the country and getting rid of immigrants, end quote. Additional videos showed the group marching through Capitol Hill neighborhoods. The White House celebrated the Freedom 250 celebration, including the 4th of July Salute to America event and fireworks on the National Mall, where President Trump was scheduled to deliver remarks. The Anti-Defamation League identifies Patriot Front as a white supremacist group that uses patriotic images to promote white supremacy ideology. Well, first and foremost, it is the 4th of July, and one thing I have to say, everybody's entitled to the freedom of speech in our country. But with that being said, you can't be biased with that. Just because these guys are doing freedom of speech, why we can't have our pride festivals and everything else, and we're celebrating diversity and fun and everything else.
Yeah, these guys are, I mean, of course, you're free to be who you are. I get it. You know what I mean? But these were there with a purpose to instill fear.
Right. But, you know, they're talking about this and they're marching with masks. I mean, if you really believe in something, why are you wearing a mask?
100%.
There's no reason for that. And these guys are just, and actually, let's call them because we don't know if you really are the all guys. I have a hard time with them marching with a flag and saying they want to get rid of immigrants. Yeah. Unless you're an indigenous people, we're all immigrants at some point in our families. So, like, they're basically idiots.
And what's the name of this team again, this group?
Patriot
Front. Okay, and these are the same guys that were against masks during COVID, right? But right now they're okay. But now they're okay with 1 million masks and all wearing masks and being covered. I mean, there was a gay Filipino boy, on on the bus, right? Roswell Encina, a gay Filipino, he said he was terrified, right? And that there would be no way for him to separate this from the 4th of July. Said the 4th of July encounter with Patriot Front was frightening and impossible to separate from American history. Like, I can't imagine hearing chants like that and being a person of color and not being fearful of your life. I just don't. I can't imagine.
It really says a lot in terms of where we are in 250 years in this country, that, we have groups like white supremacists who are reminiscent of 50 years or 60 years ago of the Ku Klux Klan, going to these things that are reminiscent of all like past history of all of these organized, bigots, we'll just call them that. And, thinking that they're not having theirs. And it's so mind-boggling to see this.
And I'm sitting there thinking, I remember seeing this over the weekend, and I saw the masks, and I'm looking at them going, and the first thing I thought to my thing was, all these white men in white masks, right, to begin with. One, they're cowards, they can't show their face. But two, if that was a group of black men marching with masks, they would have been arrested. They would have been stopped.
What are you talking about? They would have brought in the National Guard. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It left an indentation in my mind. Just really did. And it was like one step away from having the white hood. It really was.
They really sold the whole celebration that, for a country, 250, like I said, they're fighting it. They want to get rid of immigrants. It's like, but our ancestors were immigrants when we came to our country, so it doesn't make any sense.
This is stolen land.
Yeah.
Unless you are one of those Indians, you are on borrowed land. You are on stolen land. This is nobody's land but theirs.
So I think the first thing we need to do is deport all these people. The Patriots first. They want to get rid of the immigrants, get rid of them first.
I'm FayWhat. Let's queer up the worldview. Turkey blocks LGBTQ plus crews from docking, citing moral standards and family values. Turkish authorities barred the LGBTQ plus crews carrying nearly 1,900 passengers, including about 1,100 Americans, from docking in the country, citing moral standards and family values. The 10-day Atlantis Events cruise aboard Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady was scheduled to stop in Kusadasi in Istanbul after departing Greece. Instead, the ship has been rerouted to Cairo, Egypt, and Crete, Greece. According to CNN, Turkish officials canceled the port calls because the chartered ship was carrying groups known for behaviors incompatible with the fabric of our society and our moral values. Atlantis Events president, CEO Rich Campbell called the decision unprecedented. He said, quote, "It's very concerning to me when a country decides they can pick and choose which tourists are allowed in and which are not," end quote. Campbell said it is the first time in the company's 36-year history that Atlantis had been told it could not dock because of who we are. Broadway legend Patti LuPone, who is scheduled to perform on board, also criticized the decision on Instagram. The port ban comes as LGBTQ plus advocates warn that Turkey is considering proposed legislation that could further criminalize LGBTQ plus people. So now countries are denying tourists because they're LGBTQ plus. That's not protecting family values, that's protecting prejudice, okay? Besides, 1,900 queer people would have boosted the economy like nobody else. Apparently, hate is more important than tourism in Turkey, I'm thinking.
But it makes me think, what's going to stop that from eventually happening here? You get them out of the country on a cruise ship, and then they say, nope, you're not coming back. That's kind of the fear I had. Like, at what point can that turn to us?
Oh, and Atlantis is known as the Atlantis Cruise. We all know it's a fun-loving, joy-spirited, gay boy attending party. You know, there might be some lube, but whatever it is, it's a party. It's a fun time.
And as any gay theater kid will tell you, you don't piss off Patti LuPone.
Never!
You never.
Never.
She is the first vocal advocate that I think I can remember, for the LGBTQ plus community as a theater kid. And I thought, she, her mouth has gotten her into trouble sometimes, believe me, but really, they really missed the mark. Atlantis doesn't even have to go there anymore at this point, if that's how they feel about us. And their economy is just going to go to ruins as far as I'm concerned. That's just so uninclusive.
Listen, it's a great place to go shopping. Okay. But aside from, they had good food, right? But aside from that, I mean, you can probably get a lot of the same things over in Greece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, Egypt. Hello. You can get a lot of the things in Egypt, and the boys are so hot in Egypt, boys. So don't check your grinder in Kusadasi. Don't even go there. They don't want us there, then there. You just made your decision. You just lost out on all that tourism money that could have been helped. I feel more bad for the vendors, for the mom and pop people, right? That depend on the tourism money to feed their families that are not going to get that money.
Yeah.
And sorry, Turkey, you guys aren't that hot. We're not out there recruiting you.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up entertainment. Pierre Coffin says Minions have no female counterparts. Don't reproduce and live forever. French animator and Minions co-creator Pierre Coffin has sparked discussion after revealing new details about the beloved yellow characters in a July 2nd interview with The Guardian. Asked whether audiences would ever see a female Minion, Coffin replied, quote, "A female Minion would be the beginning of the end. Universal would want to do it because they think it would please all the women out there, but I'm not convinced. If I were a woman, I'd think it was tokenistic. In my head, female Minions would look exactly the same as male ones. And in terms of how they breed, they don't. They just are," end quote. His comments have prompted fresh conversations about gender and reproduction within the fictional Minions universe. Are we really talking about this? So the Minions don't reproduce, don't age, and apparently don't have women. Who freaking cares? All right? The Smurfs didn't either until Smurfette walked into town. All of a sudden, everything changed. All right? Same shit for the Minions. You guys wish a woman would come along. I mean, come on, those poor guys. Okay, they can't all be gay, right? So,
We'd like to think that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've never really watched the Minions, to be quite honest, so I don't really care if they're gay, straight, male, or female or not, It's just kind of like, it's a fun animated cartoon that just enjoys.
That just is, right? Like, you don't think about, like,
No.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we didn't go, like, do they have reproductive? What? Like, come on.
I didn't watch it and say which one's at bottom, which one's at top. I just wanted to sit there and watch and laugh.
Look, we watched, Mickey and Minnie Mouse, but they never reproduced, right? But there's reasons
Those
for that.
dirty rats.
But yeah, LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up politics. Trump draws attention after a threesome joke during Medal of Honor speech. At the dedication of the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library in North Dakota on July 1st, President Donald Trump sparked widespread online reaction after making a joke while speaking about the Medal of Honor, reflecting on the only two father and son pairs to receive the nation's highest military award. Trump turned to his eldest sons, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, who were seated in the audience. He said, quote, "As I see my two beautiful sons sitting there, I think I'm going to give one to myself, one to them, and we'll have a threesome, okay?" End quote. Trump then joked about awarding his sons medals for their genius at hunting and himself one for taking on Russia before adding that he is kidding. Okay, so this moment raises a broader question to me about consistency. If Project 2025 frames sexualized language as a cultural threat, then similar innuendo from political leaders should not be excused without scrutiny, simply because it is framed as humor. End quote.
Listen, you're dedicating a presidential library. Have you no respect?
Right.
You leave those bathroom jokes at home, kid.
I think he's got dementia now or something. Everything that's just coming out of his mouth is just nonsense and really uncalled for. So I'm not surprised. LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the USA View. USPS employee arrested after alleged online threats targeting Texas Pride event. Michael Thompson of Clovis, New Mexico, was taken into custody after authorities received a tip about threatening comments allegedly made on a Facebook post that promoted the Lubbock Pride event. Thompson allegedly posted and later deleted comments including, quote, "So, what you're saying is it's hunting season. Nothing like a little target practice can't fix," end quote. Investigators say Thompson admitted to making and deleting the post and identified himself as a USPS employee. During his arrest, he reportedly told agents he was stupid for writing the comments and was just running his mouth. adding that he never intended to commit any acts of violence. Authorities also said that they recovered 4 firearms from Thompson's home, despite him allegedly being prohibited from possessing weapons because of a prior felony domestic violence conviction. He now faces federal charges, including transmitting interstate threatening communications and being a felon in possession of a firearm. As for the Lubbock Pride Festival, it proceeded without incident, and attendees enjoyed a peaceful and successful celebration. The federal investigation in this case remains going on. Well, I'm glad that everybody was safe at the Pride event. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm glad that the police acted very efficiently, or whoever it was that brought him in, because any online threats, should be taken very seriously.
Yeah, because you don't get to just call it running your mouth after you threaten to hunt people down, right? The reality is that right now, LGBTQ plus hate crimes are up. They're higher than ever. All right. So we don't take this kind of stuff lightly. This is our lives here. This is something that every LGBTQ plus person thinks of every single time they go into every freaking LGBTQ plus event. All right. It's bad enough that we're traumatized like that. I don't know anybody who's not.
No.
You know, that thinks, could it be today? Could this happen? You know, do we have enough security? So this mother effer doesn't get to run his mouth. And he has guns at home after a prior arrest? No, bitch, no. No, bitch, no. You're not even allowed to have gay friends. How about that?
Absolutely not.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up trans rights. Trans Miss USA pioneer Kataluna Enriquez hospitalized after serious crash. Kataluna Enriquez, the first out trans woman to compete in Miss USA pageant, is recovering after a serious car accident that left her hospitalized for 2 weeks. In an Instagram reel, the Filipino-American model shared, quote, "Ever since I was young, I've loved performing, but truthfully, surviving a near-death experience has also allowed me to embrace that I'm no longer the same person. I am now one with a deeper relationship with myself and a different understanding of gratitude," end quote. A friend launched a GoFundMe account to help cover medical costs. As of this publication, more than $17,000 has been raised towards a $28,000 goal. Kataluna, let me tell you, I respect you and love you because you took a negative and made it a positive, and you no longer a victim, you became the victor. So, I wish you health and success.
Yeah. I mean, she's always been a fighter. So this is just another chapter in that story, you know, and sometimes things like this, you have a car accident, you have a near-death experience, you have somebody in your life pass away. It kind of shifts something and it makes that next chapter start right then and there. Does that make any sense?
Oh, absolutely. You see that a lot from, people that, go through something like that and then they turn it into something positive and you realize, what they were meant to be. So let's hope for that.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up faith. Trump appointed appeals judges revive fired Alaska Airlines employees' religious bias lawsuit. A federal appeals court has revived the religious discrimination lawsuit filed by 2 former Alaska Airlines flight attendants who were fired after posting anti-LGBTQ plus statements on the company's employee internet. The women, represented by First Liberty Institute, argued in 2022 that they were dismissed because of their Christian beliefs after criticizing the airline's support for the Equality Act. U.S. District Judge Barbara Rothstein in Seattle disagreed, saying the statements were not religious in nature and therefore the firings were not discriminatory. She threw out the case. Now the Ninth Circuit reversed Rothstein's order. It ruled that there is enough evidence for a jury to decide whether religious bias played a role in the firings. Let's be clear. Everyone deserves religious freedom. That's it. Point, period, blank. Okay. But religious freedom doesn't automatically mean freedom from workplace consequences, So now a jury gets to decide where that line is for these 2 women. I mean, I don't want anybody to lose their job, but I mean, when, that's for the courts to decide.
Exactly. Due process. So that's what we're waiting on stuff. So
when you look at a company, I mean, they're getting a paycheck, right? It's like, the company has this. It's like you don't get to say on behalf of a company or you get to disagree. I mean, you wanted to work for that organization. So to me, it's kind of like, you should be fired when you're doing stuff like that publicly. I mean, you have to be accountable, as we keep seeing. You have to be accountable for the words that you say.
Yeah. What he said. These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight, and our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these type of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your lead anchor, FayWhat! And I thank you for joining us. Sorry, I've been watching way too much FIFA, right? So when they score goals, I'm like all in it, right? Okay. And by the way, go Colombia tomorrow.
Yay!
Yes. Anyway, again, I'm FayWhat, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, including Von Biggs, Edward Otto Zielke, and William Haas. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a good night. Good night.
Good night.